imagine with me a war zone. Just listen and you can hear bombs going off not far from your house, or you can hear boots marching on the ground, or people constantly yelling, just in a very chaotic and hectic situation. And you're trying desperately to find a safe place for either you or your family, and you're not really sure if you can get one. If you're a modern American, you don't really know what that's like, because there hasn't been a major conflict on U.S. soil since the War of 1812. And the Civil War happened in 1860, but that was America going against America. And the last time a foreign power attacked America was in the War of 1812. America decided after World War I that we would have an isolation point of view from world powers, and that still opened us up to an attack from a foreign power. So my research has found that it is vital for Americans to be part of foreign conflicts and foreign powers. But because we are a superpower, we're often criticized for how we do that. According to the U.S. Department of State, in an article called American Isolation in the 1930s, America sent over hundreds of thousands of military men and women to Europe to fight World War I. And when they came back after the war, we were in a Great Depression. And the problem with that is that the majority of Americans decided that we need to be focused on our own problems, our own situation that we're in, because it's a tough situation. And from that we get this isolationist point of view, that we're isolated from foreign problems and foreign conflict. And that was working for us for a while, but it made it very easy for the foreign power Japan to attack us in December of 1941 on Pearl Harbor, because they thought that America isn't going to do anything. So we tried to stay out of World War II by simply writing it off as it's Europe's problem, so Europe is going to deal with it. And we still ended up losing over 3,000 lives in the attack of Pearl Harbor in a time of peace for America. So after World War II, Russia started this communist movement and was spreading it around to different countries, as far as Cuba and China and Vietnam and Korea. And because of the attack from Japan, when we were living in relative peace, we thought that it was okay to be isolated from the world, but we found out that we actually have to be proactive in our foreign policies. And that's what led us into a few gruesome wars that happened after, in the 50s and 60s, on into the 70s. Many Americans did not want us to go to Vietnam, but they didn't know why we were there, why thousands upon thousands of people were dying in the jungles for somewhat seemingly for no reason. A lot of people said, but there was no reason for it. But the fact is, North Vietnam was attacking South Vietnam, and South Vietnam was looking down the barrel of dictatorship, of communism, when they didn't want it, and America was trying to protect democracy. Because America, according to the National Archives, according to Robert Brigham, A Battlefield Vietnam, A Brief History, he said that there was so many people dying in North Vietnam in the war due to the dictatorship and to the communist policies that they were under. So America was trying to fight for South Vietnam and fight for South Korea and places like that, so they could have democracy and capitalism, because communism was affecting America's way of life all the way in Asia, in places like Europe and Asia and even South America. For example, according to the National Archives, America tried to save Cuba from Fidel Castro's dictatorship of the country and communist policies. And the battle is known as the Bay of Pigs, and many people know it as a failure because it was a failure. We tried to attack and it didn't work. And from that, Fidel Castro ended up ruling for many years after that, and Cuba is still to this day a communist country 50 plus years ago. So, America must stay in foreign conflicts and in foreign powers to keep the problem not on America's soil. It's a lot easier for us to put out a small fire than it is to put out a large one. There's evidence of Germany having plans after World War II to attack the U.S., and they actually had the nation divided up into different Germanic states. And the way that they were going to do that is that they were going to take Germany's army and Belgium's army and France's army and England's army and all these other places' armies and attack the U.S. It's a lot easier to put down a uprising of 1,000 than it is to put down an uprising of 100,000 or 1 million people. So the reason that America is very into foreign policy and involved in foreign conflict is because we don't want to bring that issue to our homeland, to where our kids sleep and where our people sleep and go to work and have jobs. So many often misinformed Americans think that our U.S. policies are either unnecessary and some even think intrusive, but that could be farther from the truth. It is necessary in order for us to protect ourselves and to protect our homeland from problems in the future. And having the peace of mind of knowing that people like us and people like our children are not going to have to live in a war zone, I think that's a small price to pay. Thank you. Stop it.